I get this feeling I don't think we're supposed to be here.
Death of a Unicorn has a lot more unicorn-based carnage than I went in expecting. Going into the film, I told myself that if I saw at least one person impaled by a unicorn horn, I'd be a happy guy, but I didn't realize that the movie was actually a lot more ambitious in that regard. People do get impaled, but they also get ripped to pieces, split in half, and crushed under hoofs. And while I definitely enjoyed watching the unicorns have their day of vengeance, how could I not? Death of a Unicorn still ultimately fell flat for me. It aspires to be satire, but doesn't quite work in that regard. So, in it, a lawyer, played by Paul Rudd, and his daughter, played by Jenna Ortega, accidentally hit and kill a unicorn on their way to spend the weekend with his clients, a wealthy big pharma family with a dying patriarch. Once the family realizes that the unicorn possesses healing powers, they try to use its body for their own illicit ends, only to discover that the mythical creatures are far more dangerous than mythic lore suggests. So, as I said, Death of a Unicorn aspires to be satire, with the wealthy Leopold family clearly modeled on the Sacklers, but the movie falls flat in that regard, with it shockingly laugh-free and toothless. Paul Rudd plays the type as the quasi-everyman hero, being a lawyer who's willing to sell out his scruples to provide for his daughter, with him being a single father who's raised her alone after the death of his wife. In classic morality tale fashion, the ambition has spoiled his relationship with Jenna Ortega's Ridley, who is now an art history major at college and finds her father a bore. Rudd always manages to hold on to an audience's sympathy. Out of everyone, it's him and Ortega that come off the best, as they're the only ones not playing total caricatures. Indeed, the depiction of the Leopold clan falls flat, as they're also one note, lacking any kind of pathos. There's Richard E. Grant as Odell, the dying patriarch, and Téa Leoni as his younger trophy wife, Belinda. Much of the conflict revolves around Will Poulter as Shepard, the coked-up family son, who's as close as the movie gets to a villain, with is meant to at least partially root for the unicorns as they start picking up members of the Shepard household. Of everyone, the only cast member who really registers meaningfully is Barry's Anthony Carrigan as Griff, the family butler. Now, one does have to give writer-director Alex Sharfman some credit for ambition, with this clearly meant to be something akin to Succession meets Jurassic Park, but it's just not clever enough to work. That said, Sharfman does have a handle on the carnage aspect, and he might be one of those indie guys who actually manages to come into his own as a franchise director, as the sensibility seems to be there. The CGI for the unicorns is never entirely convincing, but I believe they are meant to be at least somewhat cartoony, while Dan Romer and Giuseppe Greco's score playfully mixes fantasy-style themes with more John Carpenter-esque synth work. The director actually at one point was attached to score the film, but he doesn't have any work remaining in the movie, as far as I know. While not painful to watch, Death of a Unicorn is the second large-canvas A24 genre movie in a row to fall flat following Opus. One has to give them credit for allowing untested directors to take big swings, and as a concept, I'm sure Death of a Unicorn had promise. While the movie does have its moments, it just doesn't come together as a whole, and feels ultimately forgettable, which is why I give it very disappointing 5 out of 10.
Called it. There's no negotiating with monsters.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.